Okay, so this is TSA, not TSA, bag check. We're going to start a timer here in a second and let you guys know how long it takes to get through the checkpoint today. It is early in the morning and there's this many people here today. Okay, so we just got inside. I'm gonna start the timer. This is for people getting tickets. We'll see what happens when we get out of here. Never seen so many people at an airport this early in the morning. So, just saying that they are at capacity at TSA, so we're waiting in line to get in line for. Stay tuned, guys. I used the Clear. I'm glad I signed up for that in Tulsa. This is nuts. So that is the non-Clear line. I have a 15-minute wait. When you guys get here, sign up for Clear, and it will be much better. All right, so I made it through security. I did use Clear free pass, and 25 minutes. But everybody else, I bet they're going to be like an hour getting through TSA because it is really backed up. So good luck, guys.
And that, you know, the thing about it is that that's early in the morning. So the mid-afternoon flights is probably going to be way worse. I always suggest, if you can, take an early morning flight. The problem with that, though, is that if you're going somewhere where you need a hotel, most of the time you can't check into a hotel until after 2, 3 p.m., whatever time it is that you're there. The other side of it is if you leave really, really late, a lot of times that's also a possibility. But then again, with all of the delays and the cancellations, that could be a problem as well. I signed up for everything. I got Clear, I got pre-check, TSA pre-check. I go through the priority line. I do all of that stuff, and I'm willing to pay for it because this is what you can avoid. You can avoid yourself having to deal with stuff like this that will slow you down, whereas he got through in like 25 minutes. Also, I did a video before where they were saying that international flights was going to be the priority. And then they also said that hubs were the next biggest priority. So if you are traveling, if you have to, I would say if you don't have to, stay home. But if you have to, then you might have to pay the extras in order to not be in those lines. So other than that, though, you know, just stay focused. You got to do what you got to do. Try to be there early, you know, and get out of there late. If not, then you're just going to have to suffer the consequences if you're going to wing it. But I always just tell people, if you don't have to at this time, to stay home until they open up the government, because safety is the number one issue and the number one priority for me.
Currently at Atlanta Airport, and I thought I was going to be a smart cookie and arrive early, on time even, for my 8:30 p.m. flight. It is 6:58 p.m. The lines for TSA are so empty, but it doesn't even matter because every single flight is literally canceled. How am I supposed to get home? How is anybody supposed to get home? Everyone's just playing Monopoly, and it's a huge lottery to who gets home tonight and who doesn't. I'm like wondering if I should wait on standby, and the flight that I'm on standby for is delayed by an hour and 45 minutes, so that one's probably gonna get canceled too. And we're loving life right now. This is great. I'm not freaking out at all. Also, I know everyone's trying their best, but I was just auto rebooked into a flight with no text, no warning. I don't know what seat I have. Nothing.
Well, y'all, we boarded the plane. Okay, we're sitting on the tarmac, getting ready to take off. We're literally sitting in the middle of the airport, and the pilot comes on, shuts the engine off, and says they've essentially canceled your flight. I'm sorry. So now we're sitting here with a plane full of people. All of our luggage is on this plane, sitting in the middle of the airport with no update. We've been sitting here for about 15 minutes. We were supposed to take off 15 minutes ago. They came on, gave us one update, and said that there wasn't an update. So, yeah, this is how my honeymoon started. The flight was delayed. We made it through security in 4 minutes. There's screaming children on the plane, only to get on the plane for them to cancel our flight.
Hey, shout out to the people that's going on their honeymoon and taking a Spirit flight while the government is shut down. Boy, couldn't have been any worse planning than I'd have ever seen in my entire life. And Spirit is filing for bankruptcy. I'm going into the Patreon today and I'm breaking down people. Obviously, we talking about the hospitality industry, the airline industry, the AI bubble, and then Elon Musk pay package. So make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. But my point is that if you can avoid flying, if you can avoid being in these situations, if you can avoid having to sit on a tarmac, because I didn't sat on that tarmac before. I've never sat on there and got my plane canceled, but I have sat on the tarmac before, and I remember I forgot where I was going to. I don't remember exactly where I was going to, but I had to rebook. I wound up canceling my flight altogether. It might have been out to Vegas or something like that. I don't remember. Actually, it was out to DC, and it was just getting delayed. They said it was weather and all of that stuff, and I had been sitting in the airport for like 5 hours, and that's when I had determined that I got to do better. You know what I'm saying? I got to do better because that was ridiculous. Now, thankfully, I was able to just jump in my car, and I didn't, do any luggage or anything like that. I was able to just jump in my car and go back to the crib and get some good sleep. But sometimes it's just not worth it to have to deal with a lot of the headaches that you're dealing with at the airport, especially during this time.
Literally, as we're about to take off. And where we're going is about a 14-hour drive, so that's not exactly ideal. And we already have a hotel and a rental car rented in Florida, paid for. So stay tuned for an update and pray we get this plane in the air.
Just made it back home in the first hours or first day, I guess, of the restriction, the airspace restriction that is brought on by this shutdown. I have 3 pieces of advice for you. First of all, don't fly if you don't have to, right? You got to start prepping your family now for not flying to see them for Thanksgiving. It's going to be a nightmare if this continues to go. Second, don't fly on a Friday. Don't fly on a Sunday. You're flying on a Saturday or you're flying on a Wednesday. Don't force it at the same time everybody else is trying to. And third, you're going to sit on the tarmac.
Well, one of the things that he said, don't fly on a Friday and don't fly on a Sunday. Most people fly on Fridays and Sundays. Wednesdays and Saturdays are generally better. When I flew in and out of Atlanta, it was on a Saturday. Most of the flights that I take is on a Wednesday because that's the day where I choose not to stream later on in the evening. But that actually works out for me very, very well. But everybody is flying on a Friday, and everybody, sometimes Thursdays, Fridays, but definitely Sundays.
My flight had to sit on the tarmac for a couple of hours. So you've got to have your phone charged up. You've used the restroom before you've gone onto the plane, and you are snacked up. You've got snacks like whoa, because you don't want to be hangry. So just remember, everybody right now is working on a volunteer basis, including the people that are keeping you alive from the air traffic control tower.
That's crazy to think about it, right? Seriously, in a general sense, like that's really crazy to think about that these people are working with no pay. They're working with no pay, zero pay whatsoever. That's insane, bro. That is absolutely insane. But again, if you can avoid it, avoid it. If you can't, then do what you got to do and just try to be prepared as possible and be prepared to be delayed and possibly have your flight canceled. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to keep you guys updated.